not myth. He's real.
He answers to no one. He is this kind of incredibly charismatic, incredibly powerful enigma.
Dracula is both a gentleman and a killer, and it's both sexy and terrifying. And
they're all about sex and death, really.
He's dark and handsome and dangerous. I mean, what more can you ask from a leading man?
Dracula's a pimp, you know what I mean? Like, the ladies love him. And then he secretly gets him, and, you know, he does bad things to him. They kind of dig it, even though they don't. That's what Dracula is.
I think the reason that people come to the material of Dracula is because he combines sort of the worst bad guy you can imagine with kind of a combination of sexuality and a lethal predatory nature, and somebody who has kind of been around for a long, long time, as Mick Jagger would write. You know, it's like it's a little bit of sympathy for the devil.
And having so many adaptions, you have a freedom to really push the character into an extreme, and at the same time, be faithful to the original. It's like, how do you do something different? And part of that is the fun of having cut, you know, the Scream movies and H2O and stuff, kind of this revisionist horror stuff of saying, okay, well, let's, we don't want it to be campy, but at the same time, you want to have fun with it. You want to be able to take notions of the story and twist it on a modern slant.
Yes. Lucy.
I was named after the Peanuts character.
Dracula's been done so many times. It's very important to be decisive on this movie and to have such a clear vision. I really think Patrick has that.
Patrick and Joel and his team really came up with a very, very interesting approach to it that as soon as I heard it, I said, oh my God, that's so original, because it slants it in a whole new light.
One of the original conceptions of our version of it was the notion of ending up in a place where people would be so open to what he has to offer. And that's one of the attractions of setting it in Mardi Gras, that it is this hedonistic thing, and that he can get in there and almost disappear in the fact that however crazy he was 100 years ago, he's nothing compared to what goes on now.
There's an atmosphere and a quality about New Orleans that just can't be matched anywhere else.
One of the things we really want to do with Dracula 2000 was to make a roller coaster, to make a real adventure, to make something that was fast and furious, that had moments of incredible in-your-face action, and then really quiet, suspenseful things. And to give Dracula a twist.
Suffice to say that he is not the 15th century impaler that we've come to know and love.
Casting Dracula was actually the toughest of all the roles. A lot of actors were afraid of it, afraid that, you know, people who'd done it so well, Gary Oldman in particular, they all felt had done, you know, such an incredible job that everybody was very, oh, I don't want to go there.
3, 2, 1. Fucking hell.
Jerry Butler was one of the very first we auditioned, and I just had an intensity and a fire that was unlike anybody else, and just burned all the way through, that you found yourself being both scared of and drawn to, which is exactly what you want in the character.
My first day filming, I went up to the director, and it was like 3 in the morning, and I kind of was trying not to bitch too much. I was trying to seem nice, and I said, I didn't realise, Patrick, we were going to be filming so late. And he said, this is a Dracula movie, Jerry. Did you think we'd be filming days? Fair enough, good point, you know.
But if it doesn't look good, then
that looks great.
Want.
That is rocking.
Is it nice, yeah?
You know, we could start something with one.
Have you got a matching bangle?
When they told me that a Scottish guy was playing Dracula, I thought, huh? What? But Jerry he's amazing. He's like giving and fun and entertaining. Then when he turns into Dracula, he turns into this other being, and it's pretty exciting to watch and be a part of, because he's incredibly sexy, he's incredibly charming, and he's such a hypnotizer. If I were really Lucy, I would have been completely sucked in.
Some parts you look at and you don't really have it instinctively. Maybe you have to stretch yourself to play a part. Other parts you just look at and you think, oh yeah, they just feel right, you know. And when I looked at this, I didn't expect that. When I was handed the script, I didn't think I was going to think that, but I read the script and I thought, oh yeah, I could do this.
He's very good. He looks marvelous. He's got fabulous eyes, really deep-set, wonderful eyes. And he has a stillness about him which is very good and unusual in one so young.
Christopher was one of the first actors we went to for Van Helsing, and was immediately thrilled at the part, and was like right away was, yes, I'd love to do it. He was a huge fan of the book, knew all about Henry Irving, who was Stoker's manager, based the look of period Van Helsing on Henry Irving. He's an incredible pro. You know, he's done over 80 films, and it's a real privilege to work with somebody, you know, like that, who can just come in and knows exactly where the camera is, knows exactly what he has to do, and nails everything very quickly.
This is my daughter, Mary.
I guess there is a link between Mary and Mina in Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think Patrick and Joel have been really clever in making both Mary and Lucy more approachable to a young person today to play. You know, you just relate to them more.
The whole sort of vampire myth is about sex, and this, I think, is pretty sexy. Colleen, Justine, Jennifer, obviously the ultimate vampire bride vixens.
Colleen has a dancing background, so she was great at all the physical stuff. She was really good at it because the role had some physicality to it. And she wasn't afraid of any of it. She just threw herself to any part of it. It's like, whatever you want, whatever you need. And she could figure it out really quickly. And that was probably one of the best things about it, that she was fearless in anything that we asked her to do.
What was interesting is they make these heads, you know, for you, because I get beheaded. And to see yourself, like, in the act of getting beheaded and then lying there dead. And it's the creepiest thing.
It was fascinating when we came up with the origin of who Dracula was. And the whole thing was, what is his last sunset? What is it that made him what he is? What is the last thing he sees? Well, in order for the cross to have a real effect on you, the last thing you would see is the crucifixion. So who are you that silver affects you, that all these things, and who are you? Well, you're Judas Iscariot. You are the betrayer of Christ. It's like, it makes complete sense. It's kind of like, how come nobody arrived at that before? Because it is such a direct path. And that was one of the really fascinating things, to give him that origin grounded in that he is not so much afraid of the cross, but despises it. And why does he despise it? And why do these things affect him? And why? Because they're personal, because they're personal to him beyond anything else.
There's something strangely sad about it, and horrible that he has to go on living through the centuries and is never released.
Dracula is an enduring tale. I mean, it's almost like a fairy tale, really.
I think it's just always interesting to people. It's most interesting because of the new millennium, and just trying to tell it in a different way for a younger audience.
All of the subculture stuff, like the piercings and the tattoos and the nightlife and the craziness, and I realized that this is just, it's a huge cultural phenomenon, and that it's gaining steam, it's not losing steam after 100 years, and it's all based on this one guy.
It's that ancient appeal of the book and the vampire. I think is another wonderful classic scary movie.